Hey y'all, so we are back with a new season of Real Housewives of Potomac. So this is season what? Season 7, episode 1. And it's starting off, well, they show us first that trailer that they have for the season. And I'm not even going to go through the scenes of the trailer because you know how they do. Sometimes they don't even give us everything that they show us in the trailer, which is so annoying. So it'll be like, we see some clip in the trailer when y'all trying to promote it to get people to watch it when it premieres, and then whole season go by and we never saw that moment. So I'm wondering if they're gonna do that with anything. But I mean, everything looks tame enough for now. There's a new girl, Nneka, that they look like they brought on to be Dr. Wendy's adversary. You know, she's gonna be her arch nemesis. We got the two African girls, and they just gonna have some beef. Some people speculate that they brought her on because they like, we need another dark skinned African girl to kind of knock out the colorism topic. So maybe Wendy will stop saying colorism with this and the third. But I'm like, I don't even think Wendy was the one that really claimed colorism a lot. It was Candace, and rightfully so, because there was so much that Ashley gets away with, that Giselle gets away with, that Robin gets away with, that Candace is not given that same grace. But anyway, another topic for maybe another day. We shall see. It starts with the trailer where they're kind of is giving like that was that like the 70s, 80s, 90s type of sitcom feel, where they're kind of giving everybody, you know, little nicknames and kind of showing what everybody's going to be up to. And then, y'all, we go straight into what we left off at, which is Juan and his infidelity antics, like whether he was really cheating on Robin or not. Which is just kind of so crazy to me that we still have to do this. But I guess everything did happen right before they started back filming, because we didn't get to see any of this on the last season. It's just once they talked about it on the podcast and she was on Watch What Happens Live, they were getting ready to start back filming like right after that. So we still have to deal with all of this. So this is episode 1, projections and deflections. It starts off with, you know, the clips from Watch What Happens Live, where Robin was just making herself look crazy, and Ebony K. Williams was just like looking real crazy, sipping that water, and her facial expressions, which was all of us here watching on the other side of the TV, because it's like, girl, you sound crazy saying that Juan didn't have a relationship with this woman. She just needed help, so he did that. It was just some type. It was really crazy. So the first thing I think of, y'all, is watching this whole episode with how Robin is just in denial. She just truly does not care, and it reminds me that on the reunion, when they asked her if she put an infidelity clause in her prenup, she was like, well, I thought about it, but then once I really sat with it, I figured that would probably be messing me up too. That could probably get me caught up putting an infidelity clause in the prenup. So at this point, I am moved to believe that Juan and Robin are together for the kids, but they basically have an open marriage in that he dates who he want to date, she date who she want to date. And the fact that she literally out her mouth said an infidelity clause would probably be getting her caught up as well, that's everything we need to know. So we get Robin. She's in their nice house. They have a nice house, y'all. It's decorated very nicely. She's sitting there putting up wedding pictures. And he's like, oh, you're just not putting those pictures up? And Juan comes in, and y'all, I swear, this scene that they did was more time than Juan spent on the show in total last season. And I'm wondering, do they get a bigger cut when their men are involved or something like that? Because, like, you know, he ain't got no job right now. And the fact that he was willing to sit and have this conversation for TV has got me like, makes me wonder. So first they start talking about how, she's putting up the pictures. They just got in from vacation or whatever recently. And they show the picture of them in vacation, y'all. And it's Robin and the kids taking a selfie. Where is Juan? Why is Juan not at least taking the picture and y'all posing for it? Juan had somebody else in another room, had another hotel room across the hall that he was sneaking off to, because why is he not even in y'all vacation pictures? It just paints such a picture that they are not really together. This is a facade for, I don't know if it's more so for us, the viewers, or for the kids. But I feel like all of the people mentioned are much smarter than what they are treating it as. Because them boys is big enough to realize their parents ain't as close as you would think that they should be. These kids are old enough to watch the TV and see how people are poking holes in their relationship, how all of this stuff is going on. So it's just really crazy to me. So first they talk about the girl from Canada who was supposed to be talking to the guy from the Baltimore Ravens, and that's why she was in town, and she lost her wallet at the casino, so she needed Juan to come pay for her room. It just sounded so crazy, because it's like, one, you wouldn't have been able to check into the room without a card on file. Two, you there for a whole nother man. Why couldn't you have him call in and give the card information, or come down once he was done doing whatever with you to put the card on file? Nothing. You ain't have no other means to pay for this room other than calling Juan, who is a friend that's not smashing you, to come and pay for this room. It just sounded so crazy, y'all. It just sounded so crazy. And Juan, his butt gonna say, I give homeless people $20 all the time. This is no different than that. It's very different from that, because this is something that's incriminating or could incriminate you. You're going down to the hotel to put your name down and your card down for some woman when you got a whole wife at home. It was just so ridiculous. He goes on to say, well, I wasn't expecting a firestorm to happen she says this. She was like, well, I wasn't expecting a whole firestorm to happen when we addressed this on the podcast. And he's looking at her like, why wouldn't you? I told you not to do this. So they're steady talking about the girl from Canada in the hotel room. And Robin says, well, I mean, if you were already down there at the hotel and, why didn't you, try anything? Why weren't y'all like this? Girl, what? Robin, what? Are you asking your husband why he didn't sleep with somebody he claimed he didn't sleep with? And Juan's reply is like, have you seen her? So if she was more attractive to you, you would admit that you stepped out on your wife? All of it is just so crazy. So next they talk about the lady that he was seeing in the laundromat and the nail salon with. So apparently this was somebody that he worked with, the assistant coach, Coach Bree. They claimed that when they were in the laundromat, they were cleaning team jerseys. And my first thought is, don't they have like interns, or like what's like the water boy does that? Is there no facilities on campus for y'all to clean y'all's jerseys and stuff? It just all sounded so weird, because it's like, y'all in the laundromat to clean team jerseys? It was just crazy. But even so, that could be more believable than the hotel story. Okay, me and Coach Bree was hanging out because we had to clean these jerseys, and we was at the nail salon because we just needed to talk about something right quick. She was going to the nail salon, so I was like, I can use a pedicure too. Sure, let's go. I would talk over some team stuff. That's more believable than the whole hotel stuff. That just sounded ridiculous. And They're like, well, Coach Bree is a beautiful, attractive woman. Yeah, so with her being a beautiful woman and me being attractive, people see us out together and just automatically think that we're together. And it was just kind of like a lot of the sidebars in this conversation cause for pause. You know what I mean? It's like they discussed what they were going to say on camera, but they wanted to add a little more sauce on it to kind of, try to get those organic type of reactions. And honestly, it just looks like a bunch of bull. It really does. Nobody believes it. Everybody's looking at Robin sideways. Everybody's looking at Juan like, you cheating again. They said you cheated the first go round when y'all got divorced. Clearly you cheating again. Nobody is trying to believe this mess that y'all are giving us. Next, please. So next we see the winning team. We see Candace, Wendy, and Karen. And yeah, that's about right. Those are my faves for Potomac. Because Giselle is, me and my mama had a conversation the other day when we were watching this, because she said Giselle used to be her favorite in the first few seasons. And I was like, you know what? I could see that, because she was the fun girl. She didn't really take herself too seriously. She was going to bring a laughing moment when everybody else was being all stuffy and serious and stuff. But in the later seasons, Giselle has just gotten more and more vile, to what we saw last season, where she kept trying to act like Chris Bassett did something. What he did to me was unacceptable. Girl, he didn't do anything to you. The situation made you feel uncomfortable. He didn't do anything to you. So that's when I never really liked Giselle all that much outside of the first season, but I really don't like Giselle now. So that's that. Robin's a liar. Charisse is boring. So, there's nobody to like but those three. Candace, Wendy, Karen. Ashley is, hit or miss. Sometimes you like her, sometimes you don't. So we're at lunch with Candace, Wendy, and Karen, and they all struggling in because the floor is like that wooden plank. Like it's like it looks like a deck, basically. So there's space in between the wood where they little stiletto heels are sinking through, and they all like, ooh, struggling to get across the floor, honey. Just a little silly stuff. So they're basically talking about how Robin is deflecting and projecting. That's where the episode title comes from, is this conversation, because she won't talk about what Juan is doing in a real way. And the fact that she said, well, I didn't bring it up because I was waiting for Karen to bring it up. Girl, what? Like, it was just a big old mess. And she tried to make it seem like, well, I was taking up for Candace when Giselle was saying all of this. You were taking up for Candace in Candace's face. But it's like you would turn around and then say some additional things to where it didn't seem like you was taking up for them in the face of Giselle. I think she did like maybe once or twice, but then she got on the podcast and was like, well, if all these people are telling you things about your husband, maybe you should believe it. Maybe you should take your own advice, Robin. Maybe that's what you should do. So Wendy was just like, okay, well, clearly they have an arrangement where she allows this. She allows him to step out, and that's just what they do. So, it is what it is. And they had a long talk just to kind of come to say that, but I'm sure production told them that they wanted them. You know how, like, those scenes where it's like, why are they doing this? Why is it so long? Why are they talking about this? Production told them to. Production made them do it. So that was like that scene where I feel like they probably was going to hang out anyway, but they had to have that conversation a little long for the cameras. And might I add, Karen looks so good, y'all. Like, I don't necessarily care for the wig. I don't like the one color up here with the rest of the other color. But as far as her face and body goes, Karen's face is like, except for her nose. I don't like the way her nose hooked down, but whatever. Her fillers or whatever she's done to her face, it looks so neat. It looks so natural. It fits her face. It doesn't look like she just went somewhere and told somebody to experiment on me. She got it right. like I said, Nene is one of those girls who they faced surgeon, got it right. Karen is one of those girls where their plastic surgeon got it right. They did it right. They don't have their face looking all crazy. Take notes, Sheree. So next we see Ashley. Ashley's new house that she got at the end of last season. And it's so cute because the boys are growing up. I think they look like they're about, what, 5 and 3, something like that. And she's got them helping her with the trash. You can see, I can't remember which one. I think Dylan is the oldest one. Dylan, he's shuffling around. That trash can is clearly bigger than him, but he getting that trash can back down to where it's supposed to go. And I'm like, that's right, Ashley. You raised them boys right. You raised them right. And so they helping with the trash, and they come in and they're helping with their snack. They got like the little kids cutter where she started off cutting the apple and she let him finish it off with his little kid stuff. So that was a really cute moment, seeing her be a mom. It cracked me up. She's like, I'm a single mom these days, and there's nobody here to help with my boys but me. And then the camera flashes to her nanny, Daisy. Okay, and Daisy. Like, girl, stop it. Stop it. With the, oh, woe is me type of stuff. Daisy is right there. Daisy probably with them boys more than you. Cut it out. So she gets on the phone with, who was it? Giselle? I think it was Giselle. And she talks about the house. Well, Michael helped with the down payment and he pays child support, but the divorce is not final. And like I said last season, girl, at this point, don't divorce that man. Don't do it. Don't do it. He old. Ride these little 10 or whatever years out. Remain beneficiary on that stuff. And get what's owed to you however you can. But since your crazy butt didn't let a lawyer look at that prenup when you re-signed it, and he tricked you into signing it thinking that you would get 50% of everything if you stay for X amount of years, and now you realize that you don't, that you're not, just ride the wave. Just ride the wave. Like I said last season, it seemed kind of unrealistic that she would get 50% because I forgot Michael had all them kids that's like 2 years older than her. So it's like, girl, that money is getting divided up so many ways. But it seemed like Michael got enough money to go around. So just ride it out. Get some policies for your boys, Michael, and just ride that little wave out. I'm sure you can find somebody to date that's not gonna mind that you're still legally married because they clearly see that you're separated. Do what you gotta do for you, boo-boo. So Giselle invites Ashley over to basically confront Robin about her delusion. And they do a flashback of all the times Ashley has tried to say something to her. Ashley's like, we tried this before. It didn't really go all that great. And I know at one point early on, Ashley was like, he's dating other people. Why aren't you dating other people? And this relationship has you stuck. You're stagnant. Oh no, this relationship, you are not in a relationship that is conducive to a happy life. It was just all these things where Ashley stayed in Robin's business about how this relationship is not benefiting her, basically. So the next scene was so cringy because we see Giselle with her little boy toy Jason, and production said he is 16 years younger than her. And I didn't see any chemistry. I don't think they touched not one time during this entire scene. He's in the kitchen cooking sushi and scallops, and Giselle is talking about how, Grace is getting ready to go to college. Grace is in the confessionals with her. Grace is getting ready to go to college, and she had took her girls to Dubai for spring breaks, and so this will be their last spring break that they're all doing with Grace there. So they went to Dubai and everything like that. So I'm wondering where the other girls was, because it was only Angel there with her. One of the twins was there with her while she's having this moment with Jason. But Grace is in the confessional saying, she likes Jason. He's cool. She thought he was like just some random man following him around at one point because she invited him to one of her podcast shows, but didn't really introduce them yet. And he was just kind of scoping her, lingering around in the back. And she was like, Mom, who is that man? Oh, girl, that's my friend. That's my friend. Don't worry, girl. That's my friend. So apparently the girls are okay with him. She's like feeding him and stuff. It was just like, I'm with Angel. Ew. Ew. We don't want to see this. Nobody wants to see this. It's so forced. It just does not even feel natural. Like I said, there was no... They didn't touch or kiss or anything during that whole scene, even before Angel came down. So, whatever. Next, we see Gordon and Mia. Y'all, they can really just they can go. Gordon and Mia can go. I just okay. So she's talking about how they had to downsize their home. They went from 11,000 square feet to 1,500 square feet after G was cut out of the chiropractic business. And, you know, she was doing marketing for was the joint chiropractic place, and G was like co-owner or something like that, and it was basically a family business. But we saw last season that, you know, they talked about how one day Gordon woke up and he was let out of all the accounts. He was no longer on the accounts. He couldn't get to any money. He had been cut out of the business. The board had basically unanimous. Well, I don't know if it was unanimous, but the board decided to cut G from the company, which cut Mia from the company as well. So on the show, they did a flashback, which I completely forgot about, where Giselle says she felt like it was embezzlement, where clearly it looks like embezzlement if you were locked out of the accounts, if this, that, and the third. But G is talking about, well, there was an audit done. They were talking about doing an audit, this, that, and the third. I'm suing, because he's suing for the money that's rightfully his. He's owed $500,000 from this company. He wants it back, because right now they're living off their savings. Like Mia said, G said, we can't afford $10,000 a month to, you know, for living right now. So that's why we had to downsize to this apartment that's the size of my old closet. That's basically how she puts it. But y'all, I'm wondering, was it embezzlement? Like, were they really taking money? Or were they not pleased with the image that Gordon and Mia were putting out in this show in relation to their business? Because I feel like that's reason to cut somebody out the business, right? So I feel like them being on this show and Mia in general was cause enough for them to be like, yeah, nah, we're not going to be doing this. We're not going to have this associated with us. So they living off their savings right now, y'all. She talks about how Gordon was depressed. You sat on that couch for like 2 months. And he was like, yeah, you was cussing me out. She was like, yeah, I was going to say that. I got angry and I was cussing him out because she felt like it was something that he did. Something he did to get them cut out of the company and got them living in this small little place. So she goes on to mention, like, oh, how do you feel that I'm not drinking alcohol anymore? He was like, you're not drinking alcohol? Basically, she still drinks wine, but she's not drinking hard liquor. And I feel like she mentions, you know, the last time I got drunk, I just didn't like how that went. And that's when she was spreading the rumors that Sharice had said about Karen, which weren't even believable, because as bougie as Karen is, I'm not believing that she's banging somebody in a public restroom. Like, if you had said that she was banging her driver Blue Eyes in the back of the limo, that's a little more believable. But a public bar restroom, I don't think any of these girls, except for Ashley and Mia, would be willing to get screwed near a public toilet. Just, yeah, I just don't believe it. So that was the end of Gordon and Mia's scene. Trying to think, am I missing anything? I don't think I'm missing anything. So next we see Chris and Candace. And I don't know why, but on these shows, on Real Housewives of Potomac, on Married to Medicine, I like the problematic people, which I guess on this show everybody's problematic. But Candace is my fave because she using her platform, okay? She is doing what needs to be done. And if she likes to sing, she did singing as her talent and her pageants and everything like that. Candace said yes. And my first scene, you know, solo scene rather is gonna be about what I'm doing. Y'all gonna remember that I'm on tour. Y'all gonna remember that I got this album. Y'all gonna go download and stream these songs. I'm a cousin singing in the hey. I'm a cousin singing in the. That's my jam. I like Candace's music, and every time I play it, my baby be getting down, y'all. My 2-year-old be dancing so hard to Candace's music. So it'd be so cute because like sometimes she'll stop and listen and be like to like music in general and be like, do I like this? Can I get dance to this? But when Candace come on, baby, she is bouncing at the first beat. Like she loves her some Candace as well. So Chris and Candace are going for a little picnic and they're talking about the tour budget. She's talking about like, I need wigs, boob tape, the band is $50,000. I gotta have this, more wigs, hair, this, costumes, booze. I was like, you some booze? What you talking about? So she's just talking about how it's gonna be a lot of money to go on tour, to, you know, front the tour, and they gotta make that money back with ticket sales, which I think she can do. This past tour she did was City Winery Tour, which I see is really big with podcasting or beginning like first tours for musicians and things like that. Like if you're not at arena level yet, but you're not really doing, you know, the club chitlin circuit type deal, City Winery is like that space that you're in. So, you know, I aspire to be on a City Winery tour as well. Hood Health Report, check it out, y'all. But she did a City Winery tour, and she also recently opened up for Tamar Braxton. So it's really good to see her truly living in her destiny. This is what she wanted for herself, and this is what she's doing. So she's just talking about how, you know, they gotta have that money. They gotta get that money for the tour. And she's like, you know, I'm not like Alanis Morissette or Jewel. I just can't sit there with an acoustic guitar and just sway back and forth. Like, I need money for everything that goes on to put on my show. And they kind of briefly talk about how Robin and the wine scandal and how that annoyed her that was going on. But they were steady trying to malign Chris with the whole Giselle in the hotel room and Ashley saying he DM'd her come to the W. So she's annoyed by that. And then lastly, they just kind of show him like struggling to get comfortable. I think he was trying to cross his legs or something. He was struggling. She's like, you need Pilates. You need to do Pilates. He was like, no, I go to the gym. I ain't been in a while, so I got to get back on. But yeah, I go to the gym. So lastly, y'all, and this is the scene that, one of those scenes they have been playing already before the episode actually launched on social media, I believe. This is when Giselle invites Ashley and Cerise over to confront Robin about the wine scandal. So I don't think Cerise had on no heels, so she kind of got down the pathway pretty easily. But Robin and Candace were struggling. They were struggling, girl. They was like, what is going on? Ashley said, this girl is always going through renovations. I'm going to need for her to have a finished home. Like, what is going on? They were like, stairs. You need to put some stairs right here. Because I guess the walkway, it was slippery or didn't have enough grip. And it was just kind of, it looked like it was a little wobbly too. Like the stones wasn't set like they need to be. So that had me cracking up. Everybody struggling. And y'all, before I even get to the meat of the conversation, Giselle's makeup was so distracting. It was so distracting. She had way too much concealer, and this was just so light. This looked like it was of a white woman versus the rest of her face being slightly warm, and then you see that big dark concealer going across her cheek. It just made her face look droopy. It just was not good. And it's like, all these years and you still don't know how to do your makeup good? Because she looks good in the confessionals when I'm sure she hires, you know, makeup people to do that for her. But her makeup, when she do it herself, in that scene, it was extremely distracting. I could barely listen to what she was saying because I was just looking like, make your face look super droopy. Anywho, so they're talking to Robin, and Robin just does not care about any of this, y'all. I told y'all, she is unmoved. She does not care at all. And like I said, I just feel like they both got their little pieces on the side. They got their little pieces on the side. And I feel like Robin probably don't want a man. That's why she is so very unmoved by anything Juan does. I felt the same way about Cone Tessa on Married to Medicine. I feel like they didn't grow up in a time where it was acceptable to love who you love, and they got in these relationships and had these kids, and they just be so unhappy with their man because they want a woman. That's just how I feel, y'all. And that's why Robin just be so unfazed. She don't care about none of that. But she keeps saying, my joy has been stolen. My joy has been stolen. They're stealing our joy. As if the fans or the media is stealing her joy. They're like, no, girl. Juan is in the center of all of this. He is doing this. He is stealing your joy. Don't make it our fault. Don't make it the media. Don't make it the fans. Don't make it social media. Ain't nobody stealing your joy but you. Ain't nobody stealing your joy but you and your man, rather. So Sharice starts crying, and I immediately was like, she's triggered. Sharice is looking at Robin like, man, Robin is being me when I was delusional about my marriage and me still being in a happy marriage, even though Eddie was across the nation in New Jersey doing whatever he was doing. She's triggered and she's crying and she just does not want that for Robin. So Ashley gets to talking about how she made excuses for what's that old man name? Michael. She made excuses for Michael when he had his indiscretions. She was postpartum. She wasn't giving him affection. She wasn't intimate with him. And he was drunk and he went out. She was making all these excuses, so she brings that up. And Giselle also talks about her experiences as well. And Robin is just like, the only thing she keeps saying is, you guys just want me to be mad? Do you want me to be angry? Do you want me to be divorced? You want me to just be like F1? She was like, Giselle said, yes, this is an F1 moment. Yes, that's exactly. You guys want me to be divorced? No, we're not telling you to be divorced. We're telling you to at least face what's going on head on. Stop being so delusional like he isn't doing these things. Oh, well, Bree was just a friend. Okay, well, if she was just a friend, he should know that in light of these cheating speculation and rumors, it's just a certain optic that he needs not put out there. He shouldn't be out there with a woman that's not his wife, whether it's harmless or not. He just shouldn't. And y'all, I was watching Dr. Heavenly and Carlos King, their little interview thingy that they did to talk about Potomac and Married to Medicine. And Carlos King said Robin just needs to leave the show. She is not made for this. She's not fit for reality TV because she can't handle what's going on in her life with everybody commenting on it. To whereas Giselle just don't care. Okay, whatever. I'm going to brush it off my back and go do whatever I do. Robin is harping on it. She's hurt by it. She doesn't want to face it. It's just too much going on. And like he said, she's just not meant for reality TV. So I didn't want to see her back this season, to be honest, because she gives nothing. She's always so grumpy when the camera's around. And it's just like, we can do without. Like, we don't have to go through this. We don't have to go through this, Robin. You can leave. But I'm sure she's not going to leave until she has to leave because she ends up having to be the breadwinner in her marriage a lot. And right now, Juan, well, I'm not sure if right now Juan is unemployed. But as far as the show goes, Juan doesn't have a job anymore. They talked about how people speculated he got fired because of the allegations that he didn't report what one of the players was going through. But he said, no, we just didn't win enough games, and that's how it goes. They released me for that, and yada, yada, yada. So Robin can't leave this show because she got to make sure she can keep a roof over her and her boy's head. Whether that's with Juan's money as well, or just her money. And I feel like that's also something that I didn't mention that keeps them together. They know that they can afford the lifestyle for their boys that they deserve as a couple, versus separately, because we had already seen when she came on the show, when the show started season 1, that's why they were living together. Juan had hit some rough times. He didn't have the money like that to, be paying her out, child support and the alimony, and still be keeping up with his bills and things. So they were living together as divorced people because they wanted to provide a certain type of living for their children, which I can understand, but it's like you still gotta show your children a good, healthy relationship as well. So that's it for this episode, y'all. We'll see how Potomac goes. Potomac has its ups and downs for me. Like, I don't think I've seen a Potomac season that be as boring as the most recent Real Housewives of Atlanta seasons are. But it definitely has its dry moments where it's just kind of like, this is very unexciting. So, we're gonna see. It looked like in the previews, like in the trailer, it has some moments that's gonna have us like, ooh, all right, we see you, girl. We see you then. Ooh, she said what? And I don't believe when the physical altercation happened at Ashley and Giselle's fashion show, I don't believe the cameras were filming, so we won't see that on really played out. We'll get all the discourse about it, I'm sure, all the aftermath about it, but I don't think they were filming that night. So yeah, y'all, that's it for this review. Like the video, comment, let me know your thoughts about your expectations for this season. Do you think it's going to be a good season? You think it's going to be an okay season? What would you rate this episode? Put in the comments what you would rate this episode. I think I would give it a 7.5. We kind of got back introduced to everybody, but we didn't really get anything exciting. It just feels like with all of the commentary from social media, we finally had to have Robin and Juan have that talk, so it just feels redundant at this point, even though this is our first time hearing them talk about it together. So I'd say 7.5 tops. But let me know what you would rate this episode in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And be on the lookout for the next one next week, y'all. And check out my other reviews. I'm about to do Married to Medicine after this one. I did Love and Marriage Huntsville. I also do Love After Lockup. So check out the other reviews. Like, comment, subscribe, run it up, y'all. Share it. Make sure you show your friends if they watch reviews and things as well.